Hello guys, it's Eve out here, and we finally back. I know I haven't posted a video in a while, but let's just say that I had to deal with a lot of stuff, like my personal life and whatever. But I'm back, and it's 2020. Happy New Year's to everyone. And this year, like this decade, we going like hard on the new content. And I'm gonna start the decade with a crazy video. This video is gonna be the best One Piece moment of the decade. So we started the decade with chapter 569, and if you guys remember, that was in Marineford. I know, like Marineford, it's been a while. 2010, like it's 10 years, but yeah. So first chapter of the decade was 569, and the last chapter officially is 966. So these are the chapters I'm going to go through. So yeah, how this video is gonna work, it's not like a top 10 or anything. I'm gonna go to this event like chronologically and just go from there. The first impactful moment of the decade in One Piece in 2010 was the death of Podgas the Ace, Luffy's brother. And we all know, like in Marineford, after everything they did and Luffy wasn't able to like save his brother, how this event basically like reshaped the entire story. Cause like before that, really Luffy wasn't like used to like taking L's and all of that. You feel me? He was always winning, except for like Sabaody and a little bit in Impel Down when he lost against Magellan. But yeah, Ace's death was really impactful. It changed the entire story. Till today, Ace is one of many people's favorite character. But yeah, that death had basically made Luffy aware that it wasn't strong enough for the new world, and he had to get stronger, and we had to get the time skip. So Ace's death probably the most impactful moment of the entire decade in One Piece, to be honest. Then after that, we get the death of Edward Newgate, aka Whitebeard. And Whitebeard's death was to be expected. I feel like if you were reading One Piece on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, in Marineford, with like all the damage that he took, and just like the fact that he was old and all of that, a lot of people were expecting Whitebeard to die, but not Ace. But yeah, Marineford, we saw what Whitebeard was capable of, even in his old age and sick. This man was a beast, man. And till today, one of my probably top, like my top 10 favorite character in One Piece. And like I said, Whitebeard's death also like changed the entire game, cause that was a Yonko spot that became open after that, and with Teach Blackbeard and all of that, trying to take his spot, it really changed a lot. So Whitebeard's death and Ace's death basically happened like I think like 2 chapters apart or something like that. So yeah, Whitebeard's death probably also one of the most iconic deaths in all the history of manga. And yeah, we remember you, Whitebeard, even though it's been 10 years. After Ace's death and Whitebeard's death, we get the time skip. And the next moment that I shows is not really like super crazy, but I think it like proved a crazy point. And it's basically when Luffy one shot a pacifista after he comes back to Sabaody 2 years later. And it's just like such a great moment, because we saw how like they were struggling against these pacifistas before the time skip, and then we see Luffy like casually one-shotting one of them. And same for Zoro and Sanji. It was just like a way for Oda to display that the Straw has a back. You feel me? Like they're back, and they're ready for the new world. They got stronger, so let's go. And it was basically that moment. So yeah, Luffy coming back on Sabaody and one-shotting Pacifista, great moment for me. Then we pass that moment and we get to Fishman Island. And honestly, I'm gonna probably combine a couple of moments real quick in Fishman Island, but the biggest moment in Fishman Island to me was when Luffy used Haki on 50,000 fishmen. There were 100 total, but only 50,000 passed out. And also that moment is really like underrated. I feel like it's true, like Oda said that Shanks and Rayleigh could have beat over 100,000 fishmen with the Haki. But I mean, Luffy wasn't on that level yet, and I feel it. But yeah, like it was great. Like this is one of the best moments to me in the timescape, like so far. Also, Luffy just basically also one-shotting these people without even touching them, just using Haki. 50,000 people less. So yeah, great moment. And I'll probably add just real quick, the first time we see Red Hawk, it was a great like homage to Ace. So yeah, these were really pretty good moments also in Fishman Island. After that, we get to Punk Hazard. And I'm not the biggest fan of Punk Hazard. I think it was the worst arc in One Piece, like since we came back from the timescape. But he also had his hype moment, the fight Smoker against Law was pretty good. We saw how Law also like progressed and got better. Sanji against Virgo was alright. But the best moment, honestly, in Punk Hazard to me was when Law defeated Virgo with that one attack. That one was crazy. I ain't gonna lie, like till today, I made even a poster of that moment. It was just crazy. We have Doflamingo and the Denden Mushi talking shit, and like Law is just like, man, I'm just gonna break the gear, and he did it. After that attack, the One Piece world was not the same anymore. It was basically a declaration of war at that point from Law, and that moment was really, really tough. So definitely is one of the best moments of the decade. Punk Hazard is done. We go to Dressrosa, and Dressrosa to me is also one of these arcs that I really like, but that I feel like people always talk shit on. I don't know why. Because it kind of reminded me of Marineford, because there was so many people like fighting. It was really like a big battle. But anyway, the first moment in Dressrosa that was really dope to me was when we discovered that Doflamingo has the fire fruit, Ace's fruit. And like I remember reading that chapter like back in the days, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, how does Doflamingo have that fruit? Until today, we don't really know how he got it. So like, it's still like a mystery. And of course, after that we have the Coliseum, Luffy against Don Jinchao. Pretty good fight. I felt like it's really underrated. Like we really see like a first clash of like two conquerors Haki really into like in the new world. And I love this code of Don Jinchao ways. Like there's no way Luffy's gonna beat the Yonkos, the Admirals, and even surpass like Roger, because it's like it's a challenge. It's like, Luffy, you can't do this, and Luffy's like, okay bro, I'm gonna beat you and prove that I have the potential to do it. So, and just to conquer like Haki clash between those two is, I don't know, man, it was just so tough. Like to me, it was one of the best. Like in there, the panel and all of that, just perfect. Of course, after that, we discovered that Sabo is alive, and he finally eats the fire fruit, gets Ace's power, and it's at that point that Dressrosa goes crazy. And yeah, so it's pretty important moment too. Sabo's still alive, and we finally get some more action in Dressrosa. One thing that I should also mention is like something very important was the introduction of Fujitora, because we didn't really know at that point who were gonna be the new admirals and all of that, so that was pretty important too. And I remember the first time Fujitora uses devil fruit and makes a meteor basically like come down to Doflamingo and Law. and they basically deal with it, and there's only the spot where they were standing that's left. That panel too was pretty dope. After that, we don't get anything too crazy until we get the fight Luffy against Doflamingo. And I remember the craziest chapter probably of Dressrosa, Gear 4th. When Luffy goes Gear 4th, and I remember reading that chapter, I was still like in high school or probably in high school. Bro, it was crazy. I remember seeing the end of that chapter was like Gear 4th, and everybody just went crazy, like trying to just, oh, what is he gonna be and all of that. And at first, like, ain't gonna lie, I didn't really like Gear 4th, but we all got used to it, and Gear 4th is pretty dope too. So yeah, the introduction of Gear 4th is definitely one of the moments of the decades. And also a moment that was also slight is Awakening. Doflamingo finally mentioned again Awakening and shows us for the first time. That was pretty important too. So, and then to conclude that fight, we get a new technique with the Gear 4th, King Kong gun. And boy, that shit was wild. Yeah, King Kong gun, we haven't seen Luffy use it again. It's probably gonna be his strongest attack for a while. And like, yeah, King Kong gun was pretty dope. And we see him finally defeating Doflamingo, breaking those glasses of his. At that point, we all knew. When we saw the glasses, like, we're like, I bet this shit is done. Let's go home. The last great moment of Dressrosa, and really super important, is the formation of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. And at that point, we knew that Luffy was finally on the way to become a Yonko, because you need to have allies, strong allies, people know haki and all of that, have devil fruit. And after like the Grand Fleet, Luffy had all that, 5,000 people in a fleet. Boy, at that point, he was on the way to become a legend, and we all knew. After that, we make it to Zoe, and Zoe had this moment too. First big moment, we see Jack, first person with 1 billion bounty, and Luffy just had 500 mil with Law. Everybody was like, oh my god, like Luffy still fall. And I was like, yeah. And I mean, Jack is tough, he was okay, he's just like the typical villain. But yeah, after that though, the best moment in Zoe honestly was when we finally see that the mink had Raizo the entire time. I was shocked. I don't think anybody really like expected that. Probably some people did, of course, but it was just a shocker. Like, these people went through hell back and forth, and like they still never betrayed their people. That's what I call loyalty, man. I wish everybody was like that. Yeah, for the mink, after that, like, it was just respect. And finally, in Zoe, I have to mention also the road poneglyph that the Straw Hats see finally, because that's the first one. And they have a little bit of lore on Roger and all of that. And finally, Zunisha fucking up Jack. Like, that shit was wild. Zunisha basically just, I mean, it wasn't even a one shot. I wouldn't even call it a fight. Like, Jack got lucky, man. If he wasn't half a fishman, it would have died right there. So Zoe was a pretty good arc. It was short, but it went straight to the point, and that's what I liked it. And of course, like, he had the foundation for the next one with Sanji going to War Cake Island and all of that. And I forgot to mention one moment before that, and boy, that's the introduction of Kaido. And we see Kaido falling 10,000 meters from a sky island, landing on an island in the blue sea, just complaining that it just has a headache. And we see Kid and all the other supernovas there, Hawkins and Hapu, and he's just, man, like, he's just looking at them and he's like, Joker, let's go, I'm ready for the war. This was one of the best introductions that I've seen in One Piece, and perfect for a Yonko, to be honest. So just talk about this one, because I forgot. Since we're talking about introductions of Yonko, I'm gonna mention the intro of Big Mom. It wasn't that crazy, but it's just the fact that we did not know how she looked before that, and just like, it was just a hint at her powers and all of that. I put it in the moments of the decade. Big Mom is tough. She deserves more recognition, and I'm gonna put her there. So, Big Mom, let's go. We finally get to Work Island, and Work Island has so many moments that we're gonna have to like be really very specific to choose just a couple of them. So let's start. I think the first moment that should be in there is probably Tankman. I put Tankman just there just to summarize basically Luffy against Cracker, because it was Luffy's first fight against the Yonko commander, and I think it deserves to be among the moments, even though it wasn't that crazy compared to other moments. But yeah, I put Luffy against Cracker there. Luffy versus Sanji could also be there, but really quick. But one of the best moments in Work Island, in my opinion, was the reveal of Big Mom plan. The plan to assassinate the Vinsmoke. And yeah, because we basically see like putting their true colors, and that was really a key moment in the arc. So I put that one there too. The tea party too was super important, and it was pretty fun. Like I think it was my favorite part of the arc, except maybe Luffy against Katakuri. So I put that one definitely in the best moment. And also Pedro's death. Pedro's death really shook the entire community, because a lot of people were like, oh, it's probably not dead, he's gonna survive and all of that. But no, Pedro actually died, and I'm pretty sure of that. So Pedro, rest in peace, and your death is definitely among the best moment of this decade in One Piece for sure. Finally, in Work Island, we have Luffy against Katakuri, and probably the best fight in One Piece history so far. To me, we have Katakuri, Beast, one of my favorite One Piece character now, definitely in my top 5 now. Like, got Awakening, Haki is crazy on the next level. Got Conqueror's Haki, crazy observation, and his Devil Fruit got Awakening and all that. Like I said, yeah, man, Katakuri was just the perfect antagonist, man, and even his backstory was tough. So we get Snake Man in that fight for Luffy, and Luffy became way stronger after that fight, because Katakuri was a vice captain of an emperor. So thanks to that fight, Luffy got to the next level, especially Haki wise. So that's definitely up there in the moments. Post Work Island, we get a crazy chapter 903, and that's where we see Luffy's new bounty, 1,500,000,000. Crazy chapter. I remember that. There's not much to say, it was just a hype chapter. The government finally acknowledging Luffy for defeating 2 Yonko commanders. Also, for having the Straw Hat Grand Fleet and all of that. And it was just hype, man. Of course, not everything was true in the article, but Luffy definitely deserved his bounty of 1,500,000,000. So that's definitely up there. Now let's talk about the bombshell that was the Reverie. We got so many crazy chapters in the Reverie, like all of them basically are in the moments. But before that, we can just real quick talk about the revolutionary commanders, because we get them also this decade, and they were not disappointing. We haven't seen much from them yet, but just the fact that they were introduced was pretty big, and we should get more from them soon. Now let's talk about the Reverie. And the first big chapter in the Reverie was at the end, when we see Sama with the straw hat in the fridge looking thing. what is that straw hat? It's a giant straw hat. We don't really know like what it is. We don't really know where it is and all of that, but we know it's gonna play a role soon. So the straw hat in the safe will be super important. After that, we get Shanks. Shanks will pull up to the reverie and talk to the Goro say. That was also pretty shocking because we're all like, how is a pirate, especially a Yonko, who is defying the world government? Not as much, of course, as the other ones, but still defying the authority, can just come like that to Murray draw. Until now, we don't really know. He said that he was trying to talk about him, about a certain pirate. Is he Luffy? Is he Blackbeard? Is he maybe Rocks? No idea. So we'll have still to learn about that, but definitely one of the best moments of this decade. And finally, chapter 908, we get the introduction of Im-sama, the person who basically is the king of the entire world, the ruler of the world government. Probably the final villain of One Piece, to be honest. And that was completely life changing for the entire community, because he was like, was Akainu, was Blackbeard gonna be the last villain? But pretty much I feel like it's gonna be him. This man looks strong, or maybe he's not gonna be, or maybe it's a female, we don't know. But this person is the ruler of the entire government, and we'll have to defeat him to get to the end game. So a lot of potential. Let's see what's gonna happen. Finally, the reverie ends and we get to Wano, and a lot of things happen in Wano, but the first crazy moment that I would talk about here is probably the fact that Kinemon, Momonosuke, and all the other Scabbard came from the past. And that one too was a pretty important information. Crazy. But we don't stop here. After that, we get a crazy fight. We finally get Luffy against the Yonko. Luffy against Kaido. I think that was chapter 923. I'm not too sure. But crazy fight, man. And we basically see the limits of Luffy in that fight. Like, he's not ready, bro. It took a big L. He got one-shotted, turned a bagel, and Luffy was done in Gear 4. So yeah, Luffy versus Kaido, big moment. We see finally if Luffy's capable of beating a Yonko, and he's not on that level yet. So after that, we get chapter 925, the introduction of Teach, aka Blackbeard. And that chapter was crazy because it was filled with so much information from, the design of Teach, because that was the first time that we actually saw him post-time skip, and just what happened to Absalom and the return of Moria and all of that. Pretty dope chapters. And of course, like, we have, Luffy and Kid, the chapter before that, the basically screaming revenge against Kaido. Also, super important, we get the bounty of Teach. That's 2.2 billion. And at that point, that was the biggest bounty that we had in the entire story. So that's also a point to add. Next moment that I shows might not be considered crazy by some people, but I think it was really important and really well made by Oda. And it's basically the death of Yasuo, and basically the ends into like the reunion between Zoro and Sanji. And like that reunion was waited by a lot of people, because some people thought Zoro wouldn't be happy with Sanji, coming back in the crew after, fighting Luffy and all of that. But we never really got that. But I have to admit that chapter was really crazy, because it was just like the way Orochi in it, like, is evil. Like, he was so evil in what he did to the people from Ebisu Town. and Zoro was like, I can't deal with this anymore. And same for Sanji. They came to save Otoko. That was a pretty good chapter. And also at that chapter discovered that Killer was basically the manslayer. So that's also something to add. Pretty good chapter. We'll also get to know how Smile's devil fruit work, and that only 10% of the people get powers, and basically the other people cannot stop smiling for some reason and laughing. So there was also that part of information that was really important. The next big chapter was chapter 956, and it was called Big News. And it's crazy because that chapter is super important, because it's in this chapter that we see that the world government finally is done with the system of the warlords and basically revoked all the privilege. We also get information from Sabo. We don't really know what happened, but we know that he fought against the Fujitora and Green Bull, and something happened to Sabo. Did he get captured? We have no idea. Also, someone apparently was killed. Is it Cobra? We're not sure. Vivi in Alabasta. Something happened to the kingdom of Alabasta. And we also see Blackbeard saying that he's not gonna let the Marines get something. We're not sure what it is. It was just so much information, and like especially the warlord system that's been like established in the One Piece world since day one, basically. So it was pretty big, and we see Kobe that's going to try to capture Boa Hancock, and he might actually pull it off. So we'll see what happens. And lastly, also we get the SSG. The Marines apparently have new weapons that are, I guess, able to take the warlord's place, and we'll see what happens. It was a pretty important chapter. Oh, and let's not forget that in the same chapter, Swords is finally revealed. We see that it's an organization in the Marines, and X-Drake is part of it. So X-Drake is still a Marine. That's gonna be important in Wano later, so that's also to be mentioned. Finally, we get to the best moment of One Piece in 2019, and that's chapter 957, Ultimate. And basically this chapter is when Sengoku tells us about the Rocks pirates and Rocks Dizabek, how Garp and Roger had to fight him, especially with Whitebeards, Kaido, Big Mom, Shiki, and a bunch of other people in his crew. How Rocks was basically trying to be the king of the world. So much information about the God Valley and how they had to fight. But the most important and craziest thing that happened this year in One Piece, in my opinion, the Yonkers bounties are revealed in that chapter. It was really the ultimate chapters, like the name indicated. And we know we get Red Hair Shanks bounty, 4 billion and some millions buried. We get Charlotte Linden's bounty, 4 billion and like 300 mil. We also get Kaido's bounty is 4 billion and 600 mil. And at the end of this chapter, we get Edward Newgate's bounty. That's 5 billion and 46 million. And finally, the bounty I know everyone has been waiting for like 20 plus years. The captain of the Roger Pirates, the king of the pirates, Gold Roger, his bounty is 5 billion 564 mil. That chapter was, to me, one of the best moments of the decade. Like, if Ace's death and Whitebeard's death went in this decade, in the very beginning, I would say this is the chapter of the decade. No, like, for sure. But I mean, people have different opinions. But to me, this chapter for sure, 2019, best chapter of 2019, and one of the best moments of One Piece, like, history. So yeah, we finally made it to the end of the video. Honestly, if you made it to this point, thank you, because like, I know it's a long video, but it was really worth it, right? Anyway, the last two moments that I have to finish up this video, respectively from chapter 965 and 966. The first moment now from 965 is Orochi's backstory to become the shogun, and basically how he meets this white lady with the clone fruit, right? And she gives him his devil fruit, and he talked to him about a plan and how his ancestors or his grandpa tried to kill his rivals, the daimyos, and all of that, but was never able to do it. But anyway, we have that. We see everything that happened and how he tricked Odin and all the other people using this woman's devil fruit. And at the end, we see the Roger pirates ready to fight, and they see Buggy comes to his captain and he's like, "Captain, I can see a Whitebeard ship." And Roger's like, "Oh, my end is nigh and I'm ready to fight you one more time, Whitebeard." And this was definitely the last fight. So super important moment, great moment. Let's go to the last moment of this video. Finally, the last crazy moment of One Piece in this decade is a clash to me, and it's a clash between two legendary pirates. We have a clash of Haki, and crazy because it's like these people don't even touch each other with their weapons. I'm talking about, of course, Whitebeards and Roger, and they basically clash, using next level of armament Haki. They don't touch each other. It's crazy powerful, and at that point you see that these two are just on another level. And it was really tough to see, because this is the first time we actually see a Roger fight, and I know we've been waiting for that for 20 plus years too. So it was pretty dope seeing the King of the Pirates showing us what he got, especially against Whitebeard. That's crazy tough too. And at the end, we just basically get some more information on how Roger is gonna get to Loftel and all of that. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching all this entire video. Like I said, it's 2020. I'ma keep on making more videos, at least minimum, very minimum, a video a week. But I'm definitely gonna make more. Like I keep on saying that, but I still haven't done it, but we will get to it. I'm gonna make some more videos on other mangas, probably stuff like Demon Slayer before it ends, like Jujutsu Kaisen, like stuff like that, Black Clover, so My Hero. So yeah, thank you guys. Please subscribe to my channel. Some more videos on the way, and thank you for sticking with me. 2020 is our decade. You guys stay easy. Thanks for everything. Ciao.